My mother placed a soul-sealing nail on my brother's chest. Then she raised the hammer. After chanting a spell, my mother forced herself to hold back her grief and struck my brother down. With his death, my mother then took her blood-soaked hands and plunged them into the pond. The next second, she took out a needle and stabbed it into her forehead. When the ritual was complete, my mother gained endless wealth and eternal youth. 30 years later, my mother was already 70, yet she looked younger than me. When my brother and I learned she was critically ill, we brought our children to see her one last time. When my daughter held her hand, my mother suddenly grabbed her hand. My daughter was terrified. After breaking free from my mother's grip, the two children went to their room. When the sister pushed the door open, she found her brother missing. No matter how she called out, there was no response. The sister was furious about her brother's prank. She came to complain to me, but the brother wasn't afraid at all. He sat on the rocking chair, swaying back and forth. But the next day, the brother discovered his toy was missing, so he pulled his sister along. They searched from the bedroom to the living room and found nothing. At that moment, the sister suddenly heard toy sounds coming from my mother's room. She gathered her courage and entered the bedroom. She found the brother's toy under the bed. The sister crawled in and grabbed the toy, but suddenly, the bed began to shake violently. Hearing the cries, my brother and I rushed into the bedroom. My brother lifted mother onto the bed, but mother was still convulsing. The butler turned on the gramophone and played a strange piece of music. Mother actually calmed down. My brother thought she was out of danger, but suddenly, this bizarre scene made my brother realize doctors couldn't cure mother's illness. A shaman had to be called. That night, the shaman arrived, and my mother was still convulsing. The shaman went to her bedside and sprinkled holy water on her. Each time it was sprinkled, my mother struggled violently. The shaman began chanting. The lights flickered. Suddenly, my mother grabbed the shaman by the throat. The shaman told my brother to stab the fruit on the table. Unexpectedly, blood sprayed out of the fruit, and with each stab, the shaman pulled a needle out of my mother's face. After all the needles were removed, my once youthful mother quickly turned into a dried corpse. The next day, I knelt before the body, reciting prayers. Suddenly, I heard my mother's voice. It wasn't an illusion. I looked at my mother's body, reached out to lift the shroud, trying to see what was really happening. At the same time, my daughter was suddenly awakened by footsteps. She opened the door. There was no one outside. She thought she had imagined it and prepared to go back to sleep. But just as she lay down, the rocking chair suddenly began to move. The terrified sister sat bolt upright.